so his tenure would be from the 15th of May 2023 to the 1st of November 2024. We also had persons appointed to the anti-doping disciplinary panel, Ms. Meg Georgia Gibson-Hedlin and Ms. Catherine Minto. Those are some of the decisions for board appointments. There was also some contracts that were approved by Cabinet recently. Cabinet had before it a submission for the provision of general insurance coverage and brokerage services for NWC facilities island-wide for the period of 3 years. That's 2023-2024 to 2025-2026. And this approval was granted to Gallagher Insurance Brokers Limited, and the premiums are US $3.7 million for the denominated risk and 17 million Jamaican dollars for denominated risk. And both these figures included GCT. There was also the award of a contract for the construction of a classroom block at Homewood Technical High School in Christiana, Manchester. And this was to the tune of $184 million to C&D Construction and Engineering Limited. We will be distributing the cabinet notes, and in it you will see a detailed list of contracts for pharmaceuticals for the period of 3 years, and this was approved by cabinet. The awards totaled $176 million US, including GCT, to 53 suppliers, and that list will be presented. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a very important statement to make to Cabinet this morning. And I have written it, and I would want to pray for your patience while I read the statement. I want to refer to the Integrity Commission press release dated the 6th of June, 2023. And I want to say that as members of government, we have a duty to uphold accountability, transparency, and also be responsible for the actions that we commit. It is for this reason that I thought it important, as the press release refers to me as Minister of Information with responsibility, that I make a clear statement on the matter. In their press release, the Commission makes several claims that are not borne out in fact. I want to address them in point form as they relate to myself, Minister without portfolio with responsibility for information. 1, the Commission states, and those who have a copy of the release can read it, that, quote, the Commission is surprised by the Minister's comments, particularly having regard to what has in fact transpired in this matter. The Communication Minister, the Honorable Nestor Morgan, has also made a number of public remarks concerning the Commission's leadership code of conduct that might have confused the public. This is also surprising, since the Jamaica Information Service, which falls under his portfolio, has, from the very outset, benefited directly from extensive clarifications from the Commission regarding the code. The Commission, therefore, wishes to set the record straight so that the public is not in any way misguided. I would like my first response. For those who are interested, they should note that currently in this administration, there is no communications minister, and there is no minister known as the Honorable Nestor Morgan. The proper form for the post I hold is Honorable Robert Nestor Morgan, Minister without portfolio with responsibility for information. Response 2. The Commission states that this, quote, Communication Minister, the Honorable Nestor Morgan, quote, has also made a number of public remarks concerning the Commission's Leadership Code of Conduct that might have confused the public. I want to state that the public should be aware that at the post-Cabinet press briefing on April 19, 2023, a reporter from the RJR Communications Group asked me the question, quote, has the Prime Minister or any member of the Cabinet signed the Leadership Code of Conduct that the Integrity Commission invited the PM and his Cabinet to sign from last year? And if no, can you provide an explanation to why this has not been done? End quote. I responded, quote, I have not been presented with a code of conduct to sign. I have not been consulted, and I am speaking for myself as a duly elected member of Parliament and as a member of the Cabinet. I have not been presented with a code of conduct to sign. No code has been presented to me to sign. No consultation has been had with me as a duly elected member of Parliament on a code of conduct. So I'm pretty much unable to comment on a code that I have never seen or had any discussions about. This was the sum of my comments at the post-Cabinet press briefing on that particular matter. A comment caused by a question by the media, not a comment initiated by myself. Yet, the Integrity Commission says the Communications Minister, the Honorable Nestor Morgan, has also made a number of public remarks concerning the Commission's Leadership Code of Conduct that might have confused the public. The question needs to be answered by the Commission as to whether anything I said in my comments reside far from the facts. I assert that nothing I said is erroneous, as up to this moment at 8:15 on Wednesday, June 7, no code of conduct has been presented to me, nor have I been consulted on a code of conduct. That the Commission has accused me of statements that, in their words, quote, might have confused the public is potentially at least mischievous and might at worst undermine my credibility as the Minister with responsibility for information. Additionally, the fact that the Commission may have engaged the Jamaica Information Service does not defeat the fact that up to today, as the Minister, I was never engaged on such a code. In point 3 of their statement, the Commission states that the Commission on November 15, 2022, wrote a joint letter to Prime Minister Andrew Holness, an opposition leader, requesting that they should commit to the code on their own behalf and on behalf of the members of their cabinet and shadow cabinet. The identical code was appended to both letters. This is my third response. In their own release, the Commission has admitted that they, quote, requesting the Prime Minister and Leader of the Opposition should commit to the code on their behalf and on behalf of members of their cabinet and shadow cabinet, respectively. They admit that at no point in their initial correspondence did they indicate that cabinet ministers should sign the code. We must ask the Commission, how did it come to pass that cabinet ministers are now required to sign the code? Was it the opposition leader who made that suggestion? They admit in point 6 of their release, quote, the opposition leader was the first public official to sign and commit to the Commission's Leadership Code of Conduct. He did so on January 9, 2023. However, and this is in quotations, rather than sign on behalf of members of his shadow cabinet, he wrote to the Commission to seek its authorization for each of them to sign their code in their own right. The Commission granted its approval to this request. Subsequently, 10 other members of the shadow cabinet have since formally signed the code. End quote. It is appropriate for this Is it appropriate, rather, for this independent commission, which states that it will not, quote, subject itself to undue influence or desires by any person, official or authority, while discharging its lawful functions under law, end quote, to make such a fundamental change at the behest of the opposition leader? In its own press release, the Commission states that, quote, the preamble to the Commission's Code of Conduct expressly states that it's predicated on the fact that special training was administered by the Commission to members of Cabinet and to members of the Shadow Cabinet. This was done between November 9, 2020 and February 15, 2021, and between November 2021 and May 30, 2022, respectively. The training took the form of 12 specialized anti-corruption and good governance workshops that developed by the Commission for that purpose. My response number 4. I wish to state unequivocally, and I challenge the Commission to provide evidence that this Cabinet Minister was invited or received any training from the Commission. This statement, quote, that training has been administered by the Commission to members of the Cabinet and to members of the Shadow Cabinet was done between November 9, 2020 and February 15, 2021, and November 15, 2021 and May 20, 2022, respectively, end quote, is problematic. The public should note that my appointment as Cabinet Minister was on January 10, 2022. This was after such training, and while they have not been specific as to when they trained Cabinet Ministers versus when they trained Shadow Cabinet Ministers, since I have been in Cabinet, I have not been offered, presented with any opportunity for training, formally or informally, by the Integrity Commission. Like the Integrity Commission, we too have been bound by a solemn duty and a statutory oath of office. It is the common thread that binds us together, and it is the oath that requires us to faithfully discharge our functions and to do so only in the public interest. As a politician in Jamaica, I appreciate the sentiments expressed by the Integrity Commission regarding the importance of integrity and governance and accountability in public office. It is indeed crucial for political leaders to demonstrate their commitment to these principles. However, I would like to highlight that ministers and members of Parliament in Jamaica are already bound by various codes of practice and accountability frameworks. Jamaica has implemented several measures to ensure the highest standards of conduct and ethics among its political leaders. In addition to the Integrity Commission Act, we now have a code of conduct going through the process in Parliament, which provides a comprehensive framework for ethical behavior and accountability. This code outlines principles such as honesty, integrity, and the responsible use of public resources, emphasizing the standards expected from our political leaders. Furthermore, various laws and regulations such as the Financial Administration and Audit Act and the Public Bodies and Accountability Act impose strict financial management and reporting requirements on ministers and public officials. These frameworks aim to ensure responsible and transparent use of public funds as well as effective governance practices. It is essential for the public to be aware of these existing codes of practice and accountability frameworks that already bind our political leaders. While signing an additional code of conduct should symbolize or could symbolize further commitment, it is equally important to recognize the substantial measures already in place to uphold integrity, governance, and accountability. It cannot be reasonable and fair for us to be intimidated and threatened to sign an additional code without even an iota of consultation. We should assure the people, and I am assuring the people, that I am dedicated to upholding these principles and adhering to the existing codes and frameworks that govern our conduct. I am committed to serving with transparency, accountability, and the utmost integrity, working towards the betterment of Jamaica as a people. While I understand the importance of the Integrity Commission and its role in promoting accountability, I believe it's necessary to offer constructive criticism and identify areas of improvement. It cannot be that parliaments are being attacked by the Commission for doing their job, reviewing laws and making suggestions. One concern that arises is the perception created by the Commission's statement. While it's essential to assert independence and resistance to undue influence, the tone and wording of the comments may come across as confrontational or defensive. This could inadvertently undermine public confidence in the Commission's ability to carry out its duties impartially. Furthermore, there have been instances where the Commission's actions have been called into question, such as the incident with the Prime Minister, raising concerns about its effectiveness. Some have criticized the length of time for investigations to be concluded, leading to delays in accountability and justice for persons who are accused. This sluggishness can erode public trust and create a perception that the Commission is not efficiently fulfilling its mandate. Despite a budget of $1.2 billion paid by taxpayers, the Commission is yet, in some people's mind, to fully fulfill its mandate. Another area that requires attention is the clarity and transparency of the Commission's processes. The public deserves a clear understanding of how the Commission operates, the criteria it uses conducting investigations, and the decisions it makes. Improved communication and transparency can help to build trust and demonstrate the Commission's commitment to accountability. Lastly, the Commission must ensure that its actions and investigations are perceived as fair and unbiased. Any hint of political favoritism or selective targeting can erode public trust and undermine the integrity of its work. It is crucial that the Commission is seen as acting in the best interest of the country rather than being influenced by external pressures or other motivations. Constructive criticism is vital for any institution to grow and improve. I believe that by addressing these concerns, the Commission can enhance its effectiveness, restore public confidence, and fulfill its mandate to promote integrity, governance, and accountability in Jamaica. Thank you very much. I now ask Minister Delroy Chuck, who is here today, to make his presentation.
Thank you very much, colleague Minister Robert Morgan. Let me say that I am extremely concerned about the statement that was issued by the Integrity Commission yesterday. I find the statement to be rude, repugnant, and offensive. In particular, to indicate that those who fail to sign the Code of Conduct will be sending a signal to Jamaica that what is in the Code of Conduct, those who fail to sign do not intend to live up to those particular conduct expected. Let me say, like Minister Morgan, I have never seen this Code of Conduct. I don't know what is in it, so I cannot really comment on it. But let me say that from I was a teenager, I determined to live by Christian principles. So signing any Code of Conduct won't help me to live better. I believe that the Code of Conduct, which is presently being discussed by the Cabinet and will be before Parliament, is so comprehensive that it embraces what is expected of any political leader. Let me also add that I think the Integrity Commission is going beyond what its jurisdiction is. It is an anti-corruption agency, but it is now making itself to be an oversight body for good governance, for accountability. That's the Auditor General's jurisdiction. What it amounts to leadership, good leadership, that's not the work, with due respect, of the Integrity Commission. We want the Integrity Commission to expose corruption in this country. Those who are engaged in corruption must be identified, apprehended, and charged. That is why the government last year gave the Integrity Commission in excess of $1.2 billion, and this year in excess of $1.3 billion has been provided to the Integrity Commission. But so far, the Integrity Commission has demonstrated to the Jamaican people, by its action, that there are doubts as to whether it can be trusted in the reports that it sends out. When you look in January of this year, it sends out under the signature of the Executive Director, Greg Christie, a report on Petrodrum, in that letter, it says that the Director of Corruption Proceedings, having considered the report, has ruled that no one should be charged. Yet, a couple months after, it issues a report on Westcon about the Prime Minister. And when there's this great outcry, within 24 hours, it issues a report that the Director of Corruption Proceedings ruled many months before that there should be no charge in the Westcon matter. And the Corruption Commission had the audacity to say that it could not issue that ruling at the same time, when in fact, in January, on the Petrodrum report, it issued the report at the same time. How can one trust the Integrity Corruption reports? And yesterday, with due respect, with that release, it certainly brings into focus whether it is acting in the interests of exposing corruption and in the interests of ensuring that the Jamaican people get value for the money that has been allocated to it. I am of the strong view that going forward, the Oversight Committee of Parliament is looking at all the submissions presented, including those from the Integrity Commission, including others from civil society, and in due course, we will send a report back to Parliament to be debated, and that report will also be available to the public to see what exactly this Oversight Committee would like the Integrity Commission to act in a manner that it can attract the trust and confidence of the Jamaican people. The Joint Select Committee is determined to adjust the Integrity Commission Act to ensure that it acts properly within its mandate and that corruption can be removed, excised from all levels of the Jamaican society. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, and in that we will now accept questions from members of the media who are present. Do we have any questions?
Hi, thank you. Alexander Scott from Nationwide News.
Hi, Alexander. Good morning.
Morning. This question, I guess, is for both ministers, Minister Chuck and Minister Morgan. One of the things you had said was that both of you actually was that you haven't seen this document. Now that it has been made public, that is not the document, but the wish of the Integrity Commission to have members of Parliament, ministers sign this. Have you asked either the Integrity Commission or the Prime Minister himself about these?
No, I have not had any conversations with the Prime Minister about the document.
Okay.
I think that the responsibility is on those who craft the document and those who are seeking to get persons to sign the document, to present the document to them. I do not believe that our request is unreasonable. Good governance dictates that if it is that you want someone to sign something, that you approach them and you have engagement with them and consult with them. As a Minister of Government and a Member of Parliament, I cannot impose anything on the people of Jamaica or the people in my constituency. I cannot go overseas and see them having a good idea or a good document and then come to Parliament and just push it through. We have to consult, because if you listen to all the civil society groups over the years, one of the big issues, and we've had it in this room, is the issue of consulting. We're consulting, and engagement with persons who are being impacted by your decisions is fundamental to good governance. So I think the responsibility rests not on me or the minister or the government to go out and seek this document. It is you whose mandate is to craft codes of conduct. So it is you who need to come and engage with me. You have never engaged with me on that matter. So that's my response.
All right. One more. I do apologize, but the question I have is, do you guys still maintain faith, not so much in the Integrity Commission itself, but its current makeup?
I don't know if it's a matter of faith. The Integrity Commission is governed by regulations and laws. I maintain faith in the statutes and regulations that govern entities. I have no issue personally with anyone on the Integrity Commission. Our only interest is that the Integrity Commission fulfills the mandate that it is given to, as the Minister said, to seek out corruption, which is a problem that we have in Jamaica. That's his mandate, and that's what I have faith in, the statutes and the processes in Parliament to review laws and to make laws for the better running of the country. Minister, you wish this? Okay. Any other question?
Good morning. Warren Burt from Radio Jamaica News.
Nice. Thanks for coming, Warren.
In light of the public discourse going on, not for lack of a better word, the combative between the stance of the administration and the actions of the Integrity Commission, how do you see going forward a repairing of this current situation, and then so it can get back to the Integrity Commission doing the tasks that they are mandated and having the, as you said, consultancy with the administration?
Well, I am not, and the reason why I want to make it clear, the reason why I was forced to comment was because a reporter from your organization on, I think it was the 18th of April, asked the question. And that is where I, as Minister with responsibility, became engaged in the discussion. I'm not in a combat with the Integrity Commission. My responsibility as Minister is to do one thing, and it's to state facts. And I have outlined in my presentation the facts as it relates to myself in this matter. As I said before, the Integrity Commission has a job to do. It needs to do its job. I, as a minister and as a member of parliament, I am doing my job. This is what I am here to do. So there is no combat between the government and the Integrity Commission. People need to do what they are appointed and elected to do. That's it.
I have two other questions for Minister. Unrelated to this matter.
Okay.
The Chief Justice had recommended, has called for use of container courts. Is this something administration is considering?
No, I don't think he wants container courts. He wants containers at police stations that would allow witnesses to be able to testify from a container. I support it totally. Indeed, that is something that I have intimated should be available at every police station, so that instead of having to take an inmate or prisoner, accused person, from a police station way up in the hills, with a lot of security personnel taking them to the main court in the town for 5 minutes, as he indicated. If there was a particular office or a container that the accused person could literally stand up and appeal for bail or for mentioned matters. Yes, if it's a trial that will last a day or two, he should be at the court itself. But you find that a major operation takes place, moving inmates from general penitentiary, 100-man station, taking them down to the Supreme Court or to halfway tree, another major operation to take them out into the courtroom, when if you had a container or a particular witness box, everything could be done there. And that is something that Chief Justice and myself discussed many years ago. And I think he's a bit upset that up to now nothing has been done. And the truth of the matter is that it should be done.
Final question. Restorative justice. What is your assessment of how it's been working in communities?
It's one of the real success stories of the Ministry of Justice. All matters that have been referred to restorative justice, the success rate is 80%. And when they have been referred by the court, the success rate is over 90%. The real weakness is that more cases are not referred. And that is why we are spending a fair amount of time and effort urging persons in conflict, persons who have been engaged in a lot of violent confrontation, to seek help. Because when they do come to restorative justice, it heals. We refer to restorative justice as justice that heals. So the real weakness is that enough cases are not referred.
Thank you. Piggybacking on his question, good question, by the way, with restorative justice, I remember, at least I think I remember you saying that the way how we are doing restorative justice, this is something that other countries in the region have been looking at and looking to implement. I'm just wondering if you know how that has been proceeding.
Well, first of all, we have now put in place 20 restorative justice centers across the island, one in every parish and several in Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine. In addition, we're training hundreds of restorative justice facilitators attached to each of these restorative justice centers to make them available to parties in dispute, parties in conflict. And we think that what we have done is what the rest of the Caribbean would like to see operate. Because what we're saying now is that justice is available to anyone, to everyone across Jamaica. And the rest of the Caribbean is seeing that that is a model that could be adopted.
Well, with that being said then, has anybody from our Justice Ministry or from the courts itself gone to any of the other islands and Guyana to workshop this, I guess?
We've had workshops together. I have addressed several judges, probation officers, correctional officers here in Jamaica at the Marriott. They have come here, sponsored by Impact Caribbean, where we have outlined the process of our alternate justice programs, and they certainly have definitely seen the success. As I say, we want to get more communities, churches, schools sensitized and get involved in the practice, so that we're still quite early. We're just at the first step in 1,000 miles. So that, yes, we have trained persons in close to 300 schools. We have 1,000 and more schools. We have nearly 4,000 churches. We have just started the process of sensitizing at least 20, 25 persons in every church on the alternate justice programs, so that over the next number of years, that will be rolled out in the churches, the schools, the communities, and eventually business places.
Question for Minister Morgan. I'm not sure if he would be able to answer it or would want to leave it to the requisite minister, but Haiti. Prime Minister made the announcement that we're going to be acting as the venue, hosting the delegates from Haiti as they try to get over their conflict, I guess. Question is, it would be our security forces who are providing this security, and the second question in this is how long?
I didn't hear the first question.
Who would be providing security for the delegation?
I could never answer that question. That is, no, I couldn't answer that question.
All right, and the second one is, how long is there what's the timeline on the meetings, the discussions?
Well, I'm sure at the beginning of the process, Minister of Foreign Affairs will give some additional commentary. The sum total of the discussion or the communication from the government on the matter was made by the Prime Minister. So I wouldn't be able, as a really sensitive issue, I wouldn't be able to go further than the Prime Minister has gone.
Thank you.
All right. I suspect that that's it. Oh, okay.
Yes, question for you, Mr. Morgan. Yes, maybe as my colleague could pass on, if you're not in a position to answer. Yesterday we got the announcement of Canada allowing visa-free travel for certain countries within the region and other parts of the world. What I would like to know, was there any previous communication or consultation prior to this decision, why, not to say why we were left off, but in essence, we're not being on the list? Was there any foreknowledge of this in any previous discussions?
Well, what I do know is that our Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, constantly has engagement with various partners. And we have a very good relationship with the people of Canada and the government of Canada. But I think we should be very careful in how we analyze this visa matter. There are certain stipulations. For example, you have to, in some cases, have a visa for over 10 years. So it's not a straight line. And states are free to make their assessments as to who they allow into their country. But Jamaicans, I think, need to also recognize that there are several challenges that we have as it relates to us as a country in terms of persons who present problematic documents. A large number of Jamaicans present problematic documents when they're applying for visas to several countries. We have a large number of persons who have criminal records who are trying to apply. There are also significant issues with Jamaicans attempting to illegally cross the border to enter these countries, whether they go through Mexico to the United States or go further up through to Canada. And also, there are incidents, many incidents of persons overstaying. So whenever these things happen, we have to contextualize them. This government will continue to work to advocate on behalf of our citizens to find ways for ease of travel across the world. So I just want to, and I wish you would look at some of the criteria for persons who are going to benefit in these countries. Thank you. Are there any other questions? I suspect not. I want to thank members of the media, also Minister of Justice, the Honorable Delroy Chuck, for being here today with us. Also want to thank our support team here from the JIS and also the team from PBCJ and the Office of the Prime Minister. And most importantly, I want to thank the listeners who have been with us. Stay tuned next week, same time, on time, 8 o'clock Wednesday, for another edition of Post-Cabinet Press Briefing. Thank you very much.
For little people, it's a really big world. A big world to discover and explore. And because discoveries aren't always easy to understand, little people need help to make sense of the big world. So help them make sense of the world. When you see PG, do PG. The Broadcasting Commission, your partner for a new day.
Jamaica's currency has a fresh new look. Introducing the new $50 note. The new $100 note.